I'm going to answer some Bible questions for you here. Got my grandson on the camera. And so here's what you've asked. This is a good question. Does God determine your days, or does he just have foreknowledge of how many days you'll have on the earth? For example, does God determine your days and then cause something to kill you at the right time? This sounds like some kind of a science fiction movie. Or due to his foreknowledge, he knows that on a certain day you'll go to work, catch a virus, develop pneumonia, and or get hit by a bus and die. Walking around waiting on that day to roll around. And then he gives passages like Psalm 139, Luke 12:7, which says the hairs on your head are numbered. Not a hair falls out, but God doesn't count it. He's using his subtractor in his calculator right now, counting the hairs on my head. And then he says Matthew 10:29, that's where it says God knows the sparrow that falls. He keeps up with everything. He knows when a sparrow falls. I have seen God as being very intentional in every detail and figured that probably also apply to the number of our days. In other words, he's thinking if God knows the sparrow that falls, then certainly he probably knows how many days we're going to have. But then we also live in a broken world where cause and effect can result in death and debilitating things. So his question is, and really this goes back to the fundamental issue of are we subject to preordination, predetermined? Is fatalism the correct worldview? Is it true, que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be? Everybody in the world, religious and unreligious alike, just about believes the basic Calvinist tenet. I used to work with the military guys, and they were heading off to Vietnam when we were working with them. And the guys would say, you can't die until the bullet is fired with your name on it. And so some of them would come back from Vietnam and they'd tell about how they reached a point where they just didn't duck for cover anymore because they knew it was futile. You can be ducked in a hole and something drop on you and kill you, or be in your mess hall eating and a stray bullet come in and hit you. So they got to where bullets are flying, and I can't die till the bullet's fired. It's got my name on it. I think all the bullets have got my name on them, and I'm going to act that way. So he wants to know, is it true? Does God have an appointed day and you can't die before that day? Now, if that's true, think about it. If it's the appointed day and you can't die before that day, there'd be some people decide to commit suicide, jump off of a bridge 200 foot, hit the water without any pain at all, and they can't swim, and suddenly they get transported to the bank, and they say, I don't know why I couldn't die. Well, it's not your time. Or some guy takes a gun, puts it to his head, and he says, click, 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 6 rounds, all of them misfire. Why? Well, son, it's just not your time. God's got a different day for you. It's never been reported that anybody's had any difficult dying by accident or by intent or by the intentions of another person. Do you actually think that God intended, if a day is appointed for your death, then a day would be appointed for your rape, lady? I had a friend that got brutally raped in her house at nighttime. Somebody broke in, beat her with a crowbar nearly to death. If all things are appointed by God, then God appointed that. And if he appoints everything else, if he has every minute detail down to where he knows what's going to happen, and he determines it'll happen on that day at that hour, then God's to blame, not the guy who broke in and raped that young girl. And so that's really an absurd concept. Now, the problem is we know that God's sovereign. We know that he knows everything. We know that he's all-powerful. So if that's the case, how do we reconcile God's knowledge of everything beforehand, his knowing the end from the beginning, and our free choice, accident, chance? When people go to Las Vegas, is it they win $100,000 or $5 million? Is that preordained by God, or was it the chance that was built into the equipment? Which was it? Well, here's what the Bible says. Ecclesiastes 9, 11, and 12. I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favor from men of skill, but time and chance happeneth to them all. Time and chance. When someone says to you, good luck, that's a fair statement. But somebody said there's no luck for a Christian. There absolutely is. There's good luck for a Christian, there's bad luck for a Christian. You can be at the wrong place at the wrong time and die. You can get sleepy, run off the road, kill yourself and your family. You can catch a virus, you can catch a disease. All kind of things can happen to you strictly as a result of chance. You see, we live in a world that God built laws into it, set it to spinning, built laws into us and knowledge of those laws, gave us the understanding that all of our actions have consequences, that when you walk, I killed a rattlesnake 6 feet long right out there in that garden, shot him in the head, and skin's about this wide hanging in my house. Now, I saw that rattlesnake before I got close enough to him. If I'd been wandering off somewhere, that snake would have bitten me. I was swimming across the Mississippi River one time, got in trouble, couldn't make it, and had on 2 throwing knives and a buckskin knife. They weighed about 1.5 pounds apiece, each one of them, except the buck. The other 2 did. And I just couldn't make. I had to undo my belt and let my knives fall in order to make it. Now, that was a scary time. I lost some really good knives, 3 really good knives that day. I've had heart attacks, I've had auto accidents, I've had falls, I've had all sorts of things. You say, but do you believe that you're left completely on your own? As a Christian, there's special relationship that we have with God. As a Christian, God is available as we walk in faith and call upon Him to provide us with safety. Now, it's not a guarantee, because we're all going to die. I mean, if we could just ask, I don't want to die, okay? Christians would live forever. And I'm 74, I don't want to die. I'm ready to die, but I've got a lot of things I want to do. A lot of things I want to do. I want to see my grandkids. I want to see that kid right over there grow up and get married. At the rate he's gone, he'll have to live another 20 years. But I want to see my gardens produce year after year. I want to go fishing. I want to do a lot of things. I want to read the Bibles again and more. And I want to teach you. So I don't want to die, but I'm going to die. It's appointed unto man wants to die, not the time, but just the fact. And after that, the judgment. Now, we're subject to natural law. The law of gravity, law of disease, so forth. And we're subject to the whims of other people, their carelessness. All those things happen to us. But God can intervene, and He does. I feel like several times in life, God has supernaturally intervened and kept me alive. And I thank Him for that. Will He do that forever? No, He won't do it forever, but I feel like He has. Now, you have a right to call upon God, and as Hezekiah, I think it was, prayed, God says, your time to die, you're going to die. He prayed, turned his face to the wall, cried, said, give me some more. And God gave him 15 more years beyond when he was going to die. So he actually talked God into changing his death date by praying. So you can change everything by praying and by being careful, by walking in faith, and being wise in all that you do. So, how do we reconcile the sovereignty of God and the freedom of man? Well, we actually divide into 2 categories. We divide into the Calvinist and all the rest of the world that have a Calvinist worldview, and Bible believers who believe that God created us with a free choice, with powers, and with ability to walk in faith and direct our destiny and suffer the consequences one way or the other for our actions. So you can make a choice. You can be a Bible believer and take responsibility for your life and the lives of others and walk with wisdom. Or you can be a Calvinist and say, whatever will be, will be. I can't change anything. The day appointed, I will die. So I'm a Bible believer, and that's my answer to your question on this beautiful spring morning.